My beloved child, pause everything for this moment, because what is about to be revealed is not random, not common, and not meant for everyone. This message is marked with your name in the Spirit. Archangel Michael stands in authority right now, sword lowered, voice steady, delivering what heaven has waited to speak to you. The title you were drawn to is not a coincidence. Archangel Michael reveals, God has a message for you alone, and if you miss it, you may never hear it again. This is not drama. This is timing. Listen carefully. There is a narrow window opening in your life. It is brief, intentional, and divinely scheduled. God is not shouting this message to the crowd. He is whispering it directly to you because only you can carry it, and only now can you receive it. If you had come earlier, you would not have understood. If you come later, the moment will have passed. Heaven does not waste words, and it does not repeat what was already released. Archangel Michael says there has been a weight on your spirit lately that you could not fully explain. Not fear, not sadness, but a deep sense that something is about to shift. You felt it in quiet moments. You sensed it when the noise faded. That was not imagination. That was heaven signaling you to pay attention. God has been arranging your steps, even the delays, to bring you right here, right now. Here is the revelation many miss. God's message is not only information, it is activation. When this word enters your spirit, it unlocks movement. That is why the enemy worked so hard to distract you before this moment. That is why your mind felt restless. That is why small interruptions tried to pull you away. The resistance you felt is proof that what you are about to hear carries power. Archangel Michael reveals that God has watched your endurance. He saw you remain silent when you could have spoken in anger. He saw you hold on when it would have been easier to walk away. Heaven counted every unseen sacrifice. This message is not a rebuke. It is a confirmation. God is saying, I saw you choose obedience when no one applauded. Now hear this clearly. There is a decision approaching you. It will not look dramatic. It will appear ordinary, even small. But hidden inside it is a turning point. If you ignore God's instruction in that moment, you will not lose His love, but you will delay what was meant to move quickly. This is why this message is urgent. It is not about fear. It is about alignment. Archangel Michael says this decision is connected to your voice, your environment, and your obedience. God is asking you to release something familiar so He can place you into something protected. What feels comfortable right now is not where your future is planted. Comfort has been your shelter, but it is no longer your assignment. Heaven is calling you forward. Do not look for signs in the sky. Do not wait for loud confirmation from people. God's message will arrive as a calm knowing in your spirit. Peace will come before understanding. That is how you will recognize it. The moment you feel that quiet certainty, move. Delay is the only danger here, and even that is not punishment. It is lost momentum. Archangel Michael speaks this gently, but firmly. Stop doubting your sensitivity to God. You hear Him more clearly than you think. You have trained yourself to question what is pure and overanalyze what is simple. This message will not confuse you. It will clarify you. The enemy brings confusion. God brings direction. There is also a release tied to this word. A cycle that has repeated longer than it should is coming to an end. Not because you fought harder, but because you listened. Obedience ends battles effort cannot. When you respond to this message, you will notice peace entering areas that were once heavy. That is the sign that heaven has stepped in. Archangel Michael says God is not testing you right now. He is trusting you. You would not place this moment in your hands if you were not ready. You have grown quietly, deeply, and sincerely. This message is heaven saying, now step. So stay with this. Do not rush past it. Let it settle. Let it speak. What comes next will build on what you are receiving right now, and clarity will increase as you listen with your spirit, not your fear. Beloved one, as you continue listening, understand that heaven is not repeating this message because repetition is not needed when truth lands correctly. Archangel Michael now steps closer in this revelation, not as a distant warrior, but as a guardian standing at the edge of your next season. He says the reason this message feels personal is because it is interrupting a pattern that has quietly governed your life for years. God is not only speaking to you, He is repositioning you. There has been a subtle cycle you kept returning to, thinking it was wisdom or patience, but in reality, it was familiarity. You learned how to survive there. You learned how to function there. But survival is not the same as destiny. God never designed you merely to cope. This message is heaven's way of breaking agreement with limitation that looked reasonable but kept you contained. Archangel Michael reveals that God has already given you small confirmations before this moment. A sentence someone spoke that stayed with you. A sudden disinterest in things you once chased. A restlessness that did not come from dissatisfaction but from growth. These were not random signals. They were divine prompts. God was gently loosening your grip on what cannot go where He is taking you. And now listen closely. The message God is delivering to you alone carries instruction, not explanation. You will not receive all the answers up front. Faith is not built on full visibility, it is built on trust in God's voice. If He explained everything first, obedience would turn into negotiation. Heaven is asking for movement before mastery. Archangel Michael says there is also healing woven into this word. You have carried responsibility that was never meant to be yours. You took on emotional weight because you are compassionate, but compassion without boundaries drains destiny. God is lifting an invisible burden off your shoulders. When you respond to this message, you will feel lighter, not because problems vanish, but because misplaced ownership is removed. There is something important you must not misunderstand. Missing this message does not mean God abandons you. It means you stay longer in a place He already prepared you to outgrow. God's mercy is endless, but certain doors only open when obedience meets timing. That is why Archangel Michael emphasizes urgency without fear. This is about alignment, not pressure. Pay attention in the coming days to what feels strangely clear. Confusion will fade from one specific area of your life. But clarity is your cue. When it comes, do not ask 10 people for validation. Too many voices dilute obedience. God trusts you with this instruction because He has trained your discernment through seasons of silence. Archangel Michael also speaks about protection. What you are stepping into will require divine covering, and heaven has already assigned it. The delay you once resented was actually shielding you from entering too early. God does not rush His children into storms without armor. This message is the final fitting of that armor. Now pause for a moment and recognize this. If this word is resonating, it is because your spirit recognizes truth faster than your mind does. That recognition is sacred. Do not ignore it. Do not scroll away from it internally. What comes next builds directly on this revelation, and you will want to stay present because clarity compounds when you remain attentive. Before continuing, let me speak to you as the voice delivering this message. If this word is stirring something deep within you, take a moment to respond. Like this video so it reaches others who are also waiting for confirmation. Share it with someone you know has been sensing a shift but cannot name it yet. Leave a comment declaring that you are ready to hear and obey God's voice. And if this channel has been a place of clarity and peace for you, subscribe and consider joining the membership so you remain connected to these messages as they are released. Your engagement helps this message travel further than you realize. Archangel Michael says your participation is not small. Every action taken in agreement multiplies impact in the spirit. And as you stay with this message, something deeper is about to be revealed. What God is about to uncover next explains why this moment matters more than you thought. Hold on, because this is where the message begins to unfold with even greater precision. Chosen one, the atmosphere shifts here, because Archangel Michael now reveals not just what God is saying, but why this message was guarded until now. There are truths heaven withholds until the vessel is ready, and you have crossed that line. What you are receiving is sensitive, sacred, and strategic. This is why it feels weighty. This is not milk. This is solid bread meant for someone who has endured. Archangel Michael says God hath been watching how you respond in silence. When prayers were unanswered, when clarity was delayed, when others seemed to move ahead while you remained in place. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was refining you. The message God is delivering now could not have survived the version of you from before. But the current you can carry it without fear. Here is the revelation many are not prepared to hear. God's message to you is not about fixing your past, but securing your future. You have spent too much time revisiting what went wrong, replaying conversations, questioning decisions, and wondering if you missed your moment. God says, enough. He is not asking you to analyze yesterday. He is commanding you to align with tomorrow. Archangel Michael reveals that there is an assignment attached to your obedience. Not something loud or public yet, but something that will quietly position you. You are being moved into proximity. Proximity to the right people. Proximity to the right environment. Proximity to favor that cannot be forced. This is why God had been separating you emotionally from certain connections. It was not rejection. It was redirection. His message is also correcting how you see delay. You assumed delay meant denial or disapproval. In reality, delay was development. God was strengthening your discernment so that when the opportunity comes, you will recognize it without being dazzled or deceived. Archangel Michael says deception will not touch what God is building through you because your eyes are now trained. Now listen carefully. There is a temptation approaching disguised as relief. It will offer quick comfort but long-term compromise. God is warning you in advance because He trusts you. When that moment comes, your spirit will remember this message. Choose alignment over ease. That single decision will preserve years of progress. Archangel Michael also speaks peace over your heart. You have feared making the wrong move, so you froze. God is releasing you from that fear. Obedience is not about perfection. It is about direction. Even if you move imperfectly, heaven will correct your steps. But if you refuse to move at all, stagnation sets in. God prefers a moving child over a paralyzed one. There is something else being healed right now. Your relationship with trust. You learned to be self-reliant because disappointment taught you to guard yourself. But God is restoring your ability to trust Him fully, not people, not outcomes, but His voice. This message is rebuilding that trust brick by brick. Archangel Michael says once you respond to this word, you will notice resistance lift. Not all at once, but noticeably. Doors will not need to be forced. Conversations will align naturally. Peace will begin to accompany decisions instead of anxiety. These are confirmations, not coincidences. This is why heaven insists you do not miss this message. Not because God will stop speaking, but because this word unlocks a sequence. It is a key, and keys are useless if left unused. God has placed it in your hand. What you do next matters. So receive this with humility, not pressure. God is not rushing you, but He is calling you forward. You were never behind. You were being prepared. If this message is speaking to your spirit, type "I receive the call" in the comments right now. Blessing code 444 has just been released. And now hear this from a deeper place. As this word reaches you, it is also reaching others who are still searching for confirmation. I hear the Lord say, I place this invitation in your hands. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal from the link in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are sowing light into places still covered by confusion. Like seed falling into prepared soil, your giving releases harvest in lives you may never meet, but heaven records every act. I declare over you that as you respond, rivers will open where there were dry places, and oil will not run out in your house. This is not charity, this is obedience. Move now, and let God multiply what you release. Stay open, because what is coming next will explain how to walk this out daily without fear or delay. Beloved soul, as this message continues to unfold, Archangel Michael now brings clarity on how this divine word begins to shape your everyday life. God is not only speaking for revelation, He is speaking for transformation. What you are receiving is meant to change how you think, how you choose, and how you respond. This is not a momentary inspiration. This is a restructuring of direction. Archangel Michael says that once heaven releases a word, responsibility follows revelation. Not pressure, not burden, but stewardship. God has entrusted you with insight because He knows you will handle it with humility. Many people ask for clarity, but few are willing to carry what clarity demands. You are different. You have already shown heaven that you value obedience more than comfort. Here is what begins to shift now. Your sensitivity to distractions will increase. Things that once entertained you will no longer satisfy you. Conversations that drain you will feel heavier. This is not arrogance or withdrawal. This is discernment sharpening. God is fine-tuning your spirit so you can recognize what feeds your calling and what quietly steals from it. Archangel Michael reveals that God is also adjusting your pace. You used to right decisions because you feared missing opportunities. Now God is teaching you to move with intention instead of anxiety. You will notice a new calm when making choices. That calm is not hesitation. It is wisdom settling in. When heaven leads, haste fades. There is an internal alignment happening as well. Your thoughts are being reordered. Patterns of self-doubt are losing their authority. You may still hear them, but they no longer control you. God is replacing old inner narratives with truth. You are beginning to see yourself the way heaven sees you, not as broken, not as behind, but as positioned. Archangel Michael says this is also a season of unlearning. Certain beliefs you accepted as facts were actually limitations taught by experience, not truth spoken by God. The Lord is gently exposing those lies, not to shame you, but to free you. Freedom always begins with truth, and truth often challenges what feels familiar. You may notice emotions surfacing unexpectedly. Memories, feelings, or unresolved moments may rise to the surface. Do not panic. This is healing, not regression. God is clearing space. He cannot pour new wine into old containers. What rises now is being addressed so it no longer influences where you are going. Archangel Michael emphasizes that obedience in small things matters greatly right now. Simple nudges, quiet prompts, gentle corrections. Respond to them. Do not dismiss them as insignificant. Heaven builds big outcomes through small obediences. What seems minor to you may be foundational in the spirit. There is also a strengthening of courage taking place. Not loud confidence, but steady assurance. You will find yourself speaking truth calmly where you once stayed silent. You will set boundaries without guilt. You will walk away from what compromises your peace without explanation. This is maturity. This is growth. God is also teaching you how to rest without guilt. You were conditioned to believe rest equals laziness, but heaven says rest is trust. When you rest, you declare that God is working even when you are not striving. This message invites you into a rhythm of grace, not exhaustion. Archangel Michael says relationships will begin to recalibrate. Some will deepen. Others will naturally fade. Do not force either outcome. Let God lead. Alignment will feel mutual, not strained. Where effort becomes one-sided, God may be signaling release. You are also being prepared for visibility, even if quietly at first. What God is building in you will eventually be seen. That is why integrity is being reinforced now. Who you are in private must match who you will be in public. Heaven prepares the heart before it opens doors. As this word settles, remember this. You are not trying to become someone new. You are returning to who God always intended you to be. Layers are being removed, not added. Pressure is lifting, not increasing. This is restoration, not reinvention. Archangel Michael says remain attentive, not anxious. Reflective, not fearful. What God is doing now will make sense later, but obedience happens now. Trust the process even when you do not see the full picture. Stay with this message. What comes next will reveal how heaven confirms its guidance and how you will recognize divine confirmation without confusion or doubt. Beloved one, as this message deepens, Archangel Michael now speaks about confirmation, because God never leaves his children guessing when they are truly listening. Confirmation does not always arrive as a dramatic sign. More often, it arrives as consistency. When heaven is guiding you, the same truth will echo through different sources without being forced. A thought in prayer, a sentence you hear, a quiet conviction that repeats gently. That repetition is not coincidence. It is alignment. Archangel Michael reveals that God is training you to recognize his voice beyond emotion. Feelings rise and fall, but truth remains steady. This is why you may notice that even when emotions fluctuate, the direction in your spirit does not change. That steady pull is God anchoring you. He is teaching you to trust what remains consistent, not what feels intense. There will be moments when doubt tries to interrupt this process. Doubt often sounds logical. It presents reasonable arguments, past experiences, and caution disguised as wisdom. But Archangel Michael says wisdom does not silence faith, it partners with it. When doubt speaks louder than peace, pause. God's voice does not compete. It invites. You are also learning discernment between urgency and anxiety. Anxiety pushes. God leads. Anxiety demands immediate answers. God offers timely steps. This is why you may feel prompted to slow down in certain decisions while feeling peace to move quickly in others. That contrast is not confusion. It is discernment maturing. Archangel Michael speaks about timing again because timing is protection. What God has promised you is real, but premature exposure would strain it. Just as fruit picked too early lacks sweetness, opportunities entered too soon lack sustainability. God's delay was not punishment. It was preservation. There is a new awareness awakening in you. You are becoming more attentive to your inner state. You are noticing when something disturbs your peace and when something strengthens it. Peace is not passivity. It is alignment. When you walk in alignment, peace accompanies you even when challenges arise. God is also teaching you how to respond rather than react. Reaction is rooted in impulse. Response is rooted in discernment. You will find yourself pausing before speaking, choosing silence where you once defended yourself, and responding with clarity instead of emotion. This is not weakness. This is authority under control. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven is also restoring your confidence in hearing God for yourself. You have leaned on external confirmation for too long, not because you lacked faith, but because you feared responsibility. Hearing God directly requires ownership. Now God is saying you are ready to carry that responsibility with humility. There will be practical adjustments in your life, changes in routine, shifts in priority, small decisions that reflect a larger realignment. Do not underestimate these. Spiritual transformation often expresses itself in practical obedience. When you honor God in the ordinary, He entrusts you with the extraordinary. You may also experience moments of quiet joy that arrive without obvious reason. That joy is not circumstantial. It is spiritual reassurance. Heaven's presence brings joy even before outcomes manifest. That joy is strength, not distraction. Archangel Michael says there is also an invitation to forgive yourself. You have been harder on yourself than God has ever been. A good has lingered longer than necessary. God is not asking you to forget lessons, but to release self-condemnation. Condemnation clouds discernment. Grace clears it. As you move forward, you will notice that your prayers begin to shift. They become less about asking and more about listening. Less about fear and more about trust. This is growth. Prayer matures when relationship deepens. God is also preparing you for conversations that require honesty. Not confrontation fueled by emotion, but truth spoken with calm conviction. When those moments come, you will know what to say because God will give you clarity, not rehearsed lines. Trust Him. Archangel Michael emphasizes consistency over intensity. Do not try to prove your obedience with extremes. Quiet faithfulness pleases God more than dramatic gestures. Jewad. Stay aligned. Remain teachable. Remember this. You are not walking alone. Heaven is actively involved in your steps. Angels are assigned. Grace is present. Wisdom is accessible. When uncertainty arises, return to what God has already confirmed. Stay attentive. What is unfolding is deliberate, and what follows will reveal how God establishes stability so you can walk this path without fear of losing your footing. Beloved child, as this message advances, Archangel Michael now speaks about endurance, because obedience is not proven in moments of inspiration but in seasons of consistency. God is not only interested in how you begin this journey, but how you continue when emotion fades and routine sets in. What heaven is building in you requires stability, not excitement alone. There will be days when this message feels distant, not because God has moved, but because life resumes its normal rhythm. Distractions return. Responsibilities demand attention. This is where maturity is revealed. Archangel Michael says the enemy does not always attack with chaos. Sometimes he simply waits for you to forget. Forgetting dulls urgency. Remembering sustains obedience. God is teaching you how to anchor truth in daily practice. And not through constant intensity, but through quiet commitment. When you wake up and choose alignment again, even without strong feelings, heaven records that as faithfulness. Consistency speaks louder in the spirit than enthusiasm that fades quickly. You may know a subtle resistance from your environment. Not obvious opposition, but mild discouragement. Delays that test patience. Small inconveniences that tempt you to revert to old habits. This is not failure. This is refinement. Every refined process includes pressure, but pressure does not mean rejection. It means shaping. Archangel Michael reveals that God is also strengthening your spiritual posture. You are learning how to stand firm without being rigid, flexible yet rooted, calm yet decisive. This balance is rare, and heaven values it. You are becoming someone who can hold truth without becoming harsh, and grace without becoming passive. There will be moments when you question whether your obedience is making a difference. Progress may feel slow. Results may not be visible yet. God reminds you that roots grow underground before anything appears above the surface. What you cannot see is often more important than what you can. Trust the unseen work. Archangel Michael says, do not measure your growth by comparison. Others may appear to move faster, louder, or with more recognition. Your path is not your standard. God custom designed your journey to protect your heart and refine your calling. Speed is not success. Alignment is. You are also learning restraint, knowing when not to speak, when not to react, when to wait. Restraint is strength under control. Heaven trains leaders in restraint long before visibility. What you restrain today preserves authority tomorrow. God is also teaching you how to remain soft without becoming vulnerable to harm. Sensitivity without naivety. Compassion without compromise. This balance comes only through walking closely with Him. Archangel Michael says this is a sign of deep spiritual maturity forming within you. There may be moments of loneliness in this season. Not isolation, but separation. You may feel misunderstood or out of sync with others. This is not punishment. It is preparation. Certain callings require clarity that crowds can blur. God often speaks most clearly in quiet places. Remember that obedience does not eliminate challenges. It equips you to navigate them with wisdom. When difficulty arises, do not assume you missed God. Ask what He is teaching you through it. Challenges under obedience shape character, not derail destiny. And now hear this carefully. If this message has been strengthening you, anchoring you, or giving language to what you already felt inside, take a moment to respond outwardly. Like this video so the message continues to travel to those who need it. Share it with someone who has been quietly waiting for direction. Leave a comment declaring that you are choosing consistency over convenience. And if this channel continues to speak into your life, subscribe and consider joining the membership so you stay connected to these timely messages. Your support keeps this flow of revelation moving. Hold on for what comes next. The next unfolding will reveal how God restores confidence after long waiting and how He renews vision without reopening old wounds. This is where many people lose momentum, but you are being guided to move through it with wisdom and peace. Beloved one, as this message continues to unfold, Archangel Michael now speaks to the restoration of vision, because waiting has a way of blurring what God once showed clearly. When time stretches longer than expected, hope can quietly dim, not because faith is gone, but because fatigue sets in. God is addressing that fatigue now. He is not reigniting your vision by pressure, but by peace. Archangel Michael reveals that God has never withdrawn what He promised you. What changed was your ability to look at it without pain. You associated the vision with delay, disappointment, or unmet expectations, so you learned to look away to protect your heart. God understands that. He is gentle with your wounds. But now he is healing them so you can look forward again without fear. Vision restored does not come back the same way it left. Before, it may have been loud, exciting, full of urgency. Now it returns quieter, steadier, rooted in trust rather than adrenaline. This is maturity. God is not giving you a dream that overwhelms you. He is giving you direction that sustains you. You may notice that what once felt urgent now feels intentional. The rush is gone. The panic is gone. In its place is clarity. That clarity is heaven's confirmation that you are no longer chasing outcomes. You are walking in obedience. Archangel Michael says this shift protects you from burnout and disappointment. God is also correcting how you define success. You once measured progress by visible results, by speed, by approval. Now he is teaching you to measure success by alignment. Are you at peace? Are your decisions rooted in truth? Are you becoming more whole? These are heaven's metrics, and by them, you are progressing well. There is a renewal of confidence happening quietly. Not confidence in yourself alone, but confidence in God's faithfulness. You are beginning to trust that even if things unfold differently than expected, God's plan remains good. This trust stabilizes your heart. It allows you to move forward without needing constant reassurance. Archangel Michael also speaks about imagination. God is restoring your ability to imagine a future without immediately questioning it. You may find yourself daydreaming again, thinking about possibilities without shutting them down. This is healing. The enemy attacks imagination because imagination is where faith begins to take shape. At the same time, God is teaching you to hold vision without obsession. Vision is meant to guide you, not consume you. When vision becomes obsession, peace is lost. But when vision is held with open hands, peace remains. This balance is forming within you now. You may also notice a renewed desire to prepare rather than rush. Preparation is wisdom. It honors timing. God is inviting you to strengthen foundations, refine skills, and deepen character. What you prepare in private will support what God reveals in public later. Archangel Michael says there is also a release of comparison happening. You are less concerned with where others are and more focused on where God is leading you. Comparison once distracted you, but now discernment anchors you. This is freedom. Freedom allows you to celebrate others without diminishing yourself. God is also restoring your courage to believe again. You once believed boldly and were disappointed. And disappointment taught you caution. Now God is teaching you courage without naivety. Belief rooted in Him, not outcomes. This belief is resilient. It does not collapse when circumstances shift. There is a gentleness returning to your faith. Less striving, less proving, more trusting, more listening. This gentleness is strength. It allows God to lead without resistance. Archangel Michael says heaven delights in this posture because it reflects true surrender. As vision is restored, patience is also deepened. You are no longer asking, "When will this happen?" But "How should I walk today?" This question keeps you present. God works most powerfully in the present, not in anxious anticipation of the future. Remember this. Restored vision does not demand immediate action. Sometimes it simply invites you to see clearly again, to hope without pressure, to move without fear. God is not rushing you back into striving. He is teaching you how to walk steadily. Stay open. What follows will reveal how God brings external confirmation through people and circumstances, not to replace your discernment, but to strengthen it. This next unfolding will help you recognize divine alignment without becoming dependent on signs. Beloved child, As this revelation continues, Archangel Michael now speaks about external confirmation, because God knows how easily the human heart can waver after long seasons of waiting. While His voice within you is primary, heaven also releases alignment around you so your faith can stand firm without becoming dependent on signs. Confirmation is not meant to lead you. It is meant to strengthen what God has already spoken. You will begin to notice people crossing your path at the right time. Not many, but specific. Their words will not flatter you, and they will not pressure you. Instead, they will echo what God has already been whispering to your spirit. This is how you will know it is divine alignment. God never contradicts Himself. When inner conviction and outer confirmation agree, clarity deepens. Archangel Michael reveals that some confirmations will come through unexpected sources. Not always spiritual leaders or close friends. Sometimes God speaks through strangers, through ordinary conversations, through moments that seem casual but linger in your heart. Do not dismiss these. God often hides profound confirmation in simple settings to keep you attentive and humble. At the same time, heaven is teaching you discernment so you do not become sign-dependent. Not every opportunity is God-sent. Not every open door is meant to be entered. Confirmation will always bring peace, not pressure. If something demands urgency but removes peace, pause. God does not rush His children into confusion. There is also a warning here. Archangel Michael says avoid sharing every detail of what God is doing in you. Some things grow best in silence. Not everyone needs access to your process. Discernment includes knowing when to speak and when to protect what God is forming. Privacy is not secrecy. It is wisdom. You may also notice resistance decrease as alignment increases. Situations that once felt heavy begin to resolve naturally. Conversations flow more smoothly. Doors open without force. This does not mean challenges disappeared, but it does mean effort becomes purposeful instead of draining. God is removing unnecessary friction. Archangel Michael speaks about patience again, because confirmation unfolds in layers. God may confirm direction first, then timing, then method. Do not rush the sequence. Each layer protects the next. When you allow God to reveal things in order, confusion loses its grip. There will be moments when confirmation feels subtle, almost easy to overlook. A sense of peace after making a decision. A calm assurance that replaces anxiety. These are not small. These are spiritual indicators. Learn to value peace as confirmation, not just dramatic signs. God is also training you to trust alignment over approval. Approval seeks validation from people. Alignment seeks agreement with heaven. Sometimes alignment means fewer people understand you. That is okay. God never required consensus to move His purposes forward. He requires obedience. Archangel Michael says heaven is also refining your listening. You are learning to distinguish God's voice from your own desires. This does not happen overnight. It happens through surrender, patience, and honesty. When you ask God to correct you, He will, gently and clearly. As this message continues, understand this. You are not waiting for your life to begin. You are already living in obedience. Every small step taken in alignment is movement. Do not minimize it. God celebrates progress more than perfection. If this word is resonating deeply, type "I stand in alignment" in the comments right now. Blessing code 888 has just been released. And now receive this support invitation flowing directly from the heart of this message. I hear the Lord say, those who carry the light must help it travel. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal found in the description, You are sowing seed into souls who are still in darkness, still waiting for confirmation just like you once were. This is oil poured into a lamp so it does not go out. I declare that as you give in obedience, heaven opens doors that no effort could force, and peace will guard your household like a shield. This is not a donation. This is a prophetic response. Act now, and let God multiply the seed you release. Remain attentive, because what follows will speak about guarding what God has confirmed and how to remain steady when movement finally begins. Beloved one, as this sacred message unfolds further, Archangel Michael now speaks about guarding what God has confirmed, because revelation without protection can be quietly stolen. What heaven has established in you is real, but it is also precious. Anything of value requires stewardship. God is not warning you because danger is everywhere, but because discernment must increase as movement begins. When God confirms direction, the enemy often shifts strategy. Instead of resistance, he offers distraction. Instead of opposition, he offers alternatives. Archangel Michael says this is where many lose momentum, not through rebellion, but through dilution. Too many options weaken focus. God's voice remains clear, but only if you continue to prioritize it. You are entering a phase where action begins to replace preparation. This can feel unfamiliar after long seasons of waiting. Movement can be just as challenging as stillness. When things finally start to align, fear of losing them can arise. God wants you to know that fear does not protect what He gives. Trust does. Guarding what God has confirmed does not mean becoming rigid or defensive. It means remaining rooted. Rooted in prayer. Rooted in truth. Rooted in peace. When you are rooted, storms may shake you, but they cannot uproot you. Archangel Michael says depth is your protection now, not control. There will be voices that question your direction, not aggressively but subtly. Well-meaning opinions, logical concerns, past examples that did not work out. Discern which voices to hear and which to release. God may use counsel, but He never replaces obedience with consensus. If you allow too many voices into sacred space, clarity becomes crowded. You may also face internal testing. Old habits may attempt to resurface. Patterns you thought were gone may knock again. This does not mean you failed. It means you have progressed. Temptation often revisits when you are strong enough to refuse it. Each refusal reinforces your freedom. Archangel Michael emphasizes that guarding your heart includes guarding your schedule. What you give time to grows. What you neglect weakens. God is not asking for perfection, but for intention. Make space for stillness. Make room for reflection. Do not let momentum replace intimacy. As movement begins, impatience may try to creep in. You waited so long that now you want everything at once. God reminds you that sustainable growth is gradual. What builds too quickly often collapses under its own weight. Pace yourself with wisdom. God is not in a hurry. There will be moments when you feel exposed, when steps of obedience place you in unfamiliar territory. Vulnerability is part of growth. But remember, God never exposes you to harm. He exposes you to healing and expansion. Archangel Michael stands as your guard, ensuring that what God releases is also protected. God is also teaching you how to respond when things do not go as planned. Alignment does not mean absence of obstacles. It means presence of guidance. When plans shift, do not panic. Ask what God is adjusting. Often, redirection is refinement, not rejection. You are learning how to hold success with humility. When things begin to work, when clarity increases, When peace becomes consistent, pride may try to enter quietly. Pride does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers self-sufficiency. Say dependent on God. Dependence keeps your heart soft and your discernment sharp. Archangel Michael says gratitude is a powerful guard. When you remain thankful, entitlement loses its grip. Gratitude keeps you aware that every step forward is grace, not achievement. Speak gratitude often, not just for outcomes, but for process. You may also need to guard against discouragement when progress feels slower than expected. Progress is not always visible, but it is always happening when you are aligned. Trust that God is working in layers you cannot yet see. As this season unfolds, you will notice a growing steadiness within you. Less emotional fluctuation, less second-guessing, more calm assurance. This steadiness is evidence of maturity. God is not only moving you forward, He is strengthening your foundation. Remember this truth: what God confirms, He sustains. You are not responsible for maintaining what God initiated. Your role is obedience. His role is outcome. When you stay in your role, peace remains. Stay present. What comes next will reveal how God teaches you to lead yourself well, making daily choices that keep you aligned without constant correction. This is where freedom deepens and confidence becomes stable. Beloved child, as this message moves forward, Archangel Michael now speaks about self-leadership, because alignment with God is sustained through daily choices, not occasional inspiration. God is not only guiding you, He is teaching you how to walk with Him independently, confidently, and consistently. This is a sign of trust. Heaven trains you not to rely on constant correction, but on cultivated discernment. There was a time when you needed frequent reassurance. Signs, confirmations, repeated reminders. God was patient with you then, because growth requires support. But now, He is strengthening your inner compass. You are learning how to lead your own heart in truth instead of waiting for circumstances to force clarity. This is maturity. Archangel Michael reveals that self-leadership begins with honesty. Honest reflection. Honest prayer. Honest evaluation of motives. You are being invited to ask yourself, not just is this allowed, but is this aligned? Alignment asks deeper questions. It shifts your focus from minimum requirement to maximum integrity. You will notice that decision-making is becoming clearer. Not because choices are easier, but because your values are clear. When values are rooted in God, decisions become simpler, even when they are not comfortable. You are learning to choose what strengthens your spirit, not just what soothes your emotions. God is also teaching you how to manage your inner world. Thoughts, reactions, assumptions. You are no longer letting every thought settle without challenge. You are learning to pause, examine, and realign. This is spiritual discipline, not control. Discipline creates freedom, not restriction. Archangel Michael says this season requires consistency in the unseen. What you do when no one is watching matters deeply now. Your private choices are shaping public outcomes. Integrity practiced quietly builds authority that cannot be shaken later. Heaven always promotes from the inside out. There will be moments when self-leadership feels lonely. Leading yourself means you cannot always follow the crowd. You may say no when others say yes. You may wait when others rush. That does not make you behind. That makes you aligned. God often separates before He elevates. You are also learning emotional stewardship. Not suppressing emotions, but guiding them. Allowing yourself to feel without letting feelings dictate decisions. This balance protects you from impulsive choices and unnecessary regret. Archangel Michael says emotional maturity is spiritual strength. God is also restoring your ability to correct yourself without condemnation. When you miss something, you no longer spiral into shame. You adjust, learn, and move forward. This is growth. Condemnation paralyzes, and it engraves. You are learning the difference. As self-leadership strengthens, you will feel less dependent on external affirmation. Approval from others will matter less than alignment with God. This does not make you distant. It makes you grounded. Grounded people can love freely without needing validation. Archangel Michael reveals that this season also prepares you to influence others quietly. Not through force, but through example. When people see your peace, your consistency, your clarity, they will ask questions. Influence flows naturally from integrity. God is reminding you that leadership begins at home, within your own heart, before it ever touches others. How you speak to yourself, how you respond to pressure, how you honor truth when it costs something. These are leadership moments heaven notices. Now pause here for a moment. If this message has been helping you lead yourself with clarity, strengthening your walk, and anchoring your faith, take a step of agreement. Like this video so it continues to reach those who are learning to walk in obedience. Share it with someone who is ready to grow beyond confusion. Leave a comment declaring that you are choosing alignment over impulse. And if these messages consistently bring clarity into your life, subscribe and consider joining the membership so you remain connected as these revelations continue. Your engagement plays a role in how far this message travels. Archangel Michael says something important as we move forward. Self-leadership does not mean self-reliance. You still walk with God, not ahead of Him. You still listen. You still surrender. But now you walk with confidence, not fear. What comes next will speak about completion, fulfillment, and how God brings closure to seasons without reopening wounds. This final unfolding will bring everything together so you can move forward without carrying what no longer belongs to you. Stay present. This is where the message begins to settle into fullness. Beloved one, as this message nears its completion, Archangel Michael now speaks about closure, because God does not lead His children forward while leaving their hearts fragmented behind. Closure is not forgetting, is release. It is the sacred ability to move ahead without dragging unresolved weight into a new season. God is offering you that grace now. There are chapters in your life that never received an explanation, endings that felt abrupt, prayers that seemed unanswered. For a long time, you carried silent questions, not because you doubted God, but because you did not know how to lay them down. Archangel Michael says heaven had not ignored those moments. They were recorded, honored, and now they are being healed. God is teaching you that closure does not always come through answers. Sometimes it comes through peace that surpasses understanding. You may never fully know why certain things unfolded the way they did, but you will know this. God was present, God was guiding, and God was protecting you in ways you could not see then. As this season closes, you may notice a gentle loosening in your heart. Attachments that once held emotional charge are losing intensity. Memories that once stirred pain now feel neutral. This is not numbness. This is healing. God is restoring emotional freedom without erasing your story. Archangel Michael reveals that closure also requires forgiveness, not always of others, but of yourself. You held yourself responsible for outcomes that were never yours to control. You replayed moments, wishing you had known then what you know now. God says release that weight. Growth requires hindsight. Do not punish yourself for learning. There is a dignity God restores when closure comes. You no longer need to explain yourself. You no longer need to prove your intentions. Silence becomes comfortable because peace has replaced defensiveness. This dignity is evidence that God has healed the wound beneath the behavior. God is also sealing lessons. Every season taught you something necessary. Nothing was wasted. Even what felt unnecessary built discernment, compassion, and strength. Archangel Michael says you are not carrying scars into your future. You are carrying wisdom. As closure settles, anticipation may rise. Not anxious anticipation, but quiet expectancy. You sense that something new is forming, but you are not grasping for it. This posture allows God to lead without resistance. When you are no longer clinging to the past, your hands are free to receive. There may still be moments when old emotions attempt to surface. This does not mean closure failed. It means healing is layered. When those moments come, respond with grace, not judgment. God is patient with process. You can be too. Archangel Michael emphasizes that closure is an act of obedience. You choose to release what God has completed. Holding on longer does not honor the season. It delays the next one. God is not asking you to forget. He's asking you to trust Him with what you cannot change. You are also learning how to grieve without losing hope. Grief acknowledges loss. Hope anticipates restoration. God allows both. He is not threatened by your honesty. When you bring your full heart to Him, He meets you with full grace. As this message unfolds, you will notice an increased sense of wholeness. Not perfection, but integration. Your past, present, and future begin to align without conflict. You are no longer divided internally. This alignment brings peace that is stable, not circumstantial. Archangel Michael says this wholeness prepares you for what is next. God does not build new foundations on unresolved ground. Now that closure is taking place, stability follows. You will move forward without constantly looking back, without second-guessing every step. God is also restoring joy that is not tied to outcomes. Temple joy. Hawaiian joy. Joy that exists because you are at peace with God and with yourself. This joy is strength for the next season. As this part settles, understand this. Completion is not an ending. It is a transition. What God has closed was faithful for its time. What He is opening will be faithful for its purpose. You are not losing anything of value. You are gaining clarity. Remain attentive for what comes next. The file unfolding will bring blessing, commissioning, and a clear invitation to step fully into what God has prepared. This is not an emotional ending. It is a sending. Beloved child, this is the moment of sending, and Archangel Michael stands in full authority to declare what heaven has now completed in you. This message was never meant to inform you alone. It was meant to commission you. What began as a whisper has become a foundation, and what was formed in secret is now ready to be carried forward with confidence and peace. Archangel Michael says the work God has done within you through this word is sealed. Not fragile, not temporary. Sealed. You are no longer standing at the edge wondering if you are ready. Readiness has already been established through obedience, endurance, and surrender. God does not wait for perfection. He waits for willingness. You gave Him that, and heaven responded. Now hear this clearly. You are stepping into a season where movement will feel natural instead of forced. Decisions will carry peace even when they require courage. You will no longer feel the need to over-explain your path. Alignment speaks for itself. God is removing the burden of justification from your life. Archangel Michael reveals that the authority you carry now is quiet but firm. You do not need to convince others of what God has spoken to you. Those who are meant to walk with you will recognize it. Those who are not will fall away without conflict. God is streamlining your path so you can walk without resistance. There is also a blessing of stability, being released, emotional stability, spiritual stability, mental clarity. You will not be easily shaken the way you once were. Storms may come, but they will not move you. You are anchored deeper than before. This anchoring is the result of everything you have walked through, not despite it. God is also placing responsibility in your hands, not as pressure, but as trust. He trusts you to steward peace. He trusts you to choose alignment daily. He trusts you to listen when correction comes and to move when instruction is given. This trust is an honor. Heaven does not entrust lightly. Archangel Michael says your life will now begin to speak without words. Your calm will minister. Your consistency will testify. Your obedience will open doors not just for you, but for others watching quietly. This is how influence begins, not with noise, but with integrity. You may still have moments of uncertainty, but they will no longer control you. Uncertainty will invite you closer to God instead of pushing you into fear. That is growth. That is maturity. That is evidence that this message has taken root. Now understand this final truth. God's message to you alone was never meant to isolate you. It was meant to prepare you. Prepared people bring peace into rooms. Prepared people carry light without striving. Prepared people move with heaven instead of chasing outcomes. Archangel Michael declares that what you are stepping into will not require you to become someone else. You will not need to pretend, perform, or prove. You will simply be aligned, and alignment will do what effort never could. As you move forward, remember that obedience is ongoing. Stay teachable. Stay attentive. Stay humble. God will continue to guide you, not always loudly, but always faithfully. When you listen, He will lead. When you move, He will sustain. Receive this final sealing with gratitude, not pressure. God is pleased with your posture. He is pleased with your heart. He is pleased with your willingness to hear Him when it mattered. If this message has settled deeply within you, type "I walk in alignment" in the comments now. Blessing code 1212 is now activated. And now, hear this invitation flowing directly from the Spirit of this moment. I hear the Lord say, those who have received must now help release. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal found in the description, you are not supporting a person. You are partnering with heaven to carry God's voice to those who are still waiting for their moment of clarity. This is seed placed into fertile ground, and God declares that those who sow into this work will not lack, will not be forgotten, and will see doors open in unexpected places. I speak blessing over every giver, that all will increase, peace will guard your home, and favor will surround you like a shield. Do not delay obedience. Act now, and let God multiply what you place in His hands.